so that when you're turning compost from one bin into a second bin, this one bin is both bins. Just get to take it off of itself. Set it up in the new spot.
Oh, I dumped all the mycelium liquid onto your compost, just so you know. It's great for compost.
Oh, cool. Good idea.
From the contaminated drawers.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
What with the
You can dump them on
carabiners?
houseplants too.
No, the mycelium. But carabiners is a great idea.
That is actually. I always use just a piece of wire.
So
Way faster.
I'm gonna need one of y'all to run the hose,
I will.
and one of y'all to run the potato fork on the cannabis. And that's all pathogenic cannabis, so we're gonna layer that in with this pile.
Okay, where do you want water?
As I toss
Do you want it
this on
after
here.
every dry layer? You want
Yeah,
water?
after every dry layer.
There's the
And we're going from the outside to the inside.
fresh cannabis leaves, compost.
Is
I
this
wish you guys could have
irrigation?
seen this yesterday because it was a lot less black.
Okay, go.
It was a lot more greens and browns.
It's pretty wet.
It is.
Pretty
And
wet.
you're
We
adding
might not
green.
need water.
Yeah, I don't know if it
Or
needs
we're only
water.
going to need a little because some of this is a little dry on the outside.
Yeah, I just
I'll just hold it like this.
What I report
Will
is
you
basically
turn it
just
on
to
though if I need it?
put a you have a hose in sprayer.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a hose in sprayer or mister that just like and then like
No, not with the system. So easy.
super easy.
Outside to the inside. So everything that was out around the outer edges will come and get buried in with all the oxygen it has. And the stuff in the middle that needs more oxygen, this really wetter, darker stuff, will kind of be thrown to the outside of the pit to get more.
How long does it take to heat up?
It heats up on the first day when you layer your greens and browns.
Look at the
and pinks.
steam, everybody. You guys all see the steam?
What was the temperature earlier today, Blue?
160 degrees is when we
160.
started working.
Nice. Yeah, that's what between 160 and 180, 165, 180.
Yeah,
and if we
Anita,
would've
I
hit a
can
different
use your
spot, this is
I
really
can't imagine
steaming.
we're going to water this.
And there's a lot of mycelial growth here.
Pretty cool. Smells good too. In sort of a funky kind of smells good way. You're learning about composting. It's an age-old technique that has been perfected over the last couple of thousand years of human agriculture.
That's looking really good.
Are you kitchen composting here too?
Yep. But we're pretty much going to get it to a point where all the kitchen compost will go in a new pile with all the greens, and then when we're ready, we'll add the browns and the poop
Yep.
and the water and activate it.
Oh, you have poop in here too? You have rabbit poop?
Rabbit and chicken. And that's what makes it really hot.
Super
The
hot.
rabbit poop.
See, I thought you
And by
were-
hot, you mean high in nitrogen, right?
No, I mean high in temperature, 160
High in temperature,
degrees.
but it also
Because
makes it
it's
high in
high.
nitrogen now as well, or is it?
It's because
Yeah,
of the
with the
nitrogen.
greens breaking down fast.
Yeah.
And they're fresh manures.
You know what the final NPK roughly on a compost like this is? We should test it.
Yeah, we
I've got I used to have reagents.
Oh, really?
I think
oh,
they're-
that would be. It'd be really easy to get those on Amazon.
Totally. They don't stay good very long. But if you only need to test once or twice a year just to see.
pH helps too because obviously.
All right, Steve, go ahead
high
and layer what we
nitrogen
got
is
in
low
there.
pH, so
I've
you
got
definitely
a
want the
digital
compost
pH
on top.
meter,
I
like a
think
6.
as it alkalinizes, it balances out the potassium and the phosphorus.
Does it? Yeah, I've got a digital. In one of my boxes, I've got
Where
a
is
digital.
Tamron anyway?
It's his birthday.
Oh, this is birthday weekend?
Oh,
So
stinky.
he's camping.
Too bad we don't have smell-o-vision.
Scratch and sniff.
Scratch and sniff.
And it's only because it's anaerobic on the inside where it can't breathe.
Yep.
How often are you turning?
Every other day. But pretty much whenever it gets up to 180 degrees is what we're going to be shooting.
And this is the compost that feeds your cannabis plants.
Yep. Eats
What-
all the pathogens.
What's the total turnaround time from raw materials to finished compost ready for use?
So if you can make a thermophilic compost pile like this that gets hot, gets up to 160 to 180 degrees, it'll be done in 14 to 18 days.
These are the ones
You
on
turn
the
it every
internet
other
that
day.
they spray Coca-Cola and beer and one other thing. What do they put in?
Just for extra sugar?
And they, well, that's what the Coke is for.
Yeah.
And then they put their grass clippings in with straw and they make compost in 3 weeks. It's all over the internet.
Is it the acidity as well of the Coke or just the sugar?
I mean, if you're...
I mean, with mine, you can still see the rabbit poop chunks.
Yeah, I can
It's so
smell the rabbit poop chunks.
Yeah. And this will eat all the pathogens from the cannabis.
And it completely breaks down almost all that, the larger tree-like
Yep.
material into just shredded.
It's so hot. It's really
Yeah, you guys come feel it, everybody. If you're doing the arm test, which is where you put your arm in a compost pile to see if you can keep your arm in it.
For how long? Just any amount of
And-
time?
Well, if you can even keep it in it, then it's not
It's not hot enough.
to high temp.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's how
100,
people do it without
160,
a
180
thermometer.
degrees. It's hot. Like it
Yeah.
should be like, ooh, ow.
Yeah. Like you start to try and put your hand in and you pull it back. I can't handle it.
Yep. Wow, even sticks that big. How long does it take to break that? It takes less than 14
And then do you
days to
cap
break
it
those
with
down?
plain straw or
Well,
anything?
so if it's not all the way done, then I'll filter it out and put it in the next one. But
Got it.
after 14 to 18 days,
The majority of it.
the woodier, harder carbons will bring out more mycelial fungi growth, which is what we're looking for in our ratios in the
That's
ground
what we should
for our soil food
bokashi.
web.
We should bokashi our wood.
Is that basically contaminating it with the fungus to break it down?
Yeah.
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 That's a
It's
great idea.
composting Japanese style,
Yep.
where you can compost protein sources, fats, fats and
Yeah.
proteins.
Yeah, I used to specifically use this this fungal, some sort of fungus powder that you'd add to liquid and stir it up, let it sit for 15 minutes, and then dump on your compost thing. And it would just like totally. You can do it with tree stumps even to rot a tree stump
Yeah.
out with fungus, and it takes like a
Yeah.
year, but you can do it
Yeah.
without having to spend a $250 or $300 every tree
Take
stump
that
taken
for
out.
a minute if you want to stay on camera. Just in that.
So this is freshly turned compost, just put into the bin,
And we're going to wet it down.
and it is approaching 120. And before it was 180.
120. Now let's see if the water cools it down. And
Oh yeah, of course it will.
we'll only heat it down for a short
For a bit. And it'll probably get way hot. Imagine it'll be 140 or 160 by midnight tonight.
But that's what we do anytime we have a lot of pathogens. Anytime we have a really good mix of 3 piles of greens and browns and manure, we start this, and we'll just have to find a way to communicate when every other day is when it needs turned.
Just have a
So it doesn't
have a
get
whiteboard or
too
something out here where you mark the date that it was turned and then just alternate. Huh? Well, whatever. Chalkboard. Chalkboard.
What did
Well,
you
you
say?
can look at the temperature on it, and if it's 180, you turn it.
Because they're chemically and nasty, or because they're
Because, okay, here's why. Because when you have a task on a whiteboard, when you are done with the task, you wipe it off of the whiteboard, which erases it from everyone's memory.
Look, I told you the water was going to make it
So when you
hotter.
have a list on a piece
Right
of
away?
paper, cross it
Oh,
off,
maybe
and the
because
task
it
is
washed
still
the-
there.
let me
So
wash my
everyone
hands.
remembers that you
Maybe
fucking
because
took
it
out the
made
trash.
the
Okay.
Or did it, whatever.